you know this feeling when everyone else feels that they are crushing their chest? When you wake up and immediately start worrying about what your boss thinks, what your family expects, what can strangers on the internet about your last post? I lived in that constant reaction prison, jumping every time someone raised his voice, changing my whole day based on a single disapproval look. But here is what I found out that has changed everything. In fact, there is a protocol rooted in the wisdom of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who can make him completely unshakable, even when the world around him is losing his mind. And today, I will show you exactly how to install this system in your daily life, so you can finally stop living at the mercy of other people's mood and opinions. Let me paint an image of what your life is like now. You check your phone in the morning and immediately your nervous system gets over because of what you see. Someone has not responded to your message quickly enough, so you spend 20 minutes by analyzing what this may mean. Your coworker provides feedback on a project, and you are suddenly questioning everything about your abilities. Your family member makes a comment about your life choices, and you are awake at night, repeatedly repeating the conversation. Look familiar? This is the exhaustive cycle of external validation dependence, and is stealing your peace, focus, and power. But here is the promise I'm making for you today. At the end of this video, you will have a complete protocol that allows you to stay centered and focused on what chaos is spinning around you. You will find out how to generate your own inner stability instead of constantly seeking it in the outside world. And the most beautiful is that once you dominate this, people really start looking for you as a calm and confident person in the room. They will wonder how you get so compound when everyone is crumbling. Now, before we dive into the practical steps, we need to understand the philosophical base that makes this whole system work. Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of America's greatest thinkers, spent his life studying human nature and discovering the secrets of inner strength. And what he found was revolutionary. Nothing external can complete it. Think about it for a moment. Every time you are seeking approval, validation, or piece of something out of you, you are essentially admitting that you are incomplete, that you have no essential but. Emerson found that true strength does not come from the accumulation of external achievements or approval. It comes from deep and unshakable confidence in its own inner wisdom. While most people are running around trying to prove to all others, the truly powerful person has learned to generate their own sense of value and direction inside. This does not mean that you become arrogant or discharge of others. This means that you become like a solid, grounded mountain has not been supplied by the storms that get angry around you. Conventional wisdom tells us that we need to worry about what others think, that we need to constantly adjust to fit and be accepted. But Emerson's approach is radically different. He understood that when you learn to orient yourself through inner discipline, instead of external expectations, something magical happens. You become authentic, you become decisive, you become peaceful. And, ironically, this inner-directed approach makes it much more effective in the world, no less. Think about the people you admire most. I guarantee that they share this quality. They seem to operate with their own inner compass, rather than constantly looking around to see what everyone is doing. They make decisions quickly because they are not paralyzed by the need for universal approval. They speak with conviction because they are not constantly guessed based on other people's reactions. So how do you develop this kind of inner strength? It begins with the understanding that your peace, your trust, and direction must come from within. External circumstances are always changing. People's opinions are always changing. If your emotional state depends on these variables, you will be in an emotional roller coaster for the rest of your life. But when you learn to generate stability in your own center, you become truly free. Now, let's get practical. I will give you 3 specific steps that you can start to implement immediately to develop this unshakable internal force. These are not just philosophical concepts, concrete practices that will transform how you move around the world. The first step is what I call the noise. In our hyper-connected world, we are constantly bombarded with other people's opinions, emotions, and agendas. Your phone is humming with notifications. News feeds are full of indignation and drama. Social media is designed to keep it in constant state of comparison and reaction. The first step towards developing internal force is to create space between you and all this external chaos. This means establishing periods of silence in your days. Not only silent, but real silence, where you are not consuming anyone's thoughts or opinions. Start with just 10 minutes in the morning before checking your phone. Feel silent. breathe deeply, and reconnect with your own thoughts and feelings. You will be surprised how different you feel when you start the day of your own center, instead of reacting immediately to the energy of all others. But cutting the noise goes beyond just media consumption. It also means learning to observe silence in conversations and situations where you would normally be compelled to react immediately. When someone criticizes him, instead of defending himself immediately or getting upset, breathe and create space. When someone tries to drag it into the drama, you may choose not to get involved. It is not about being cold or disconnected. It is about keeping your center so that you can respond from wisdom and not the reaction. If this first exercise has aroused clarity on you, leave your like now and sign up to keep receiving this silent wisdom that transforms inside. The second step is direction before emotion. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions. They feel angry, so they attack. They feel insecure, so they seek validation. They feel overwhelmed, so they move. But Emerson's protocol becomes this sequence. You decide who wants to be and how you want to appear, regardless of how you are feeling at the moment. This means starting every day, defining your intention and character, not based on external circumstances or other people's expectations, but based on your own inner wisdom. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I choose to be today? How do I want to appear in my relationships, my work, my challenges? Then you commit to incorporating this identity, regardless of which emotions arise or what pressures you face. For example, if you decide that you will be patient and kind today, keep this identity, even when someone interrupts you in traffic or when your teenager gives you attitude. If you decide that you will focus and productive, you will maintain this energy even when you do not feel like distractions. This practice of choosing your character before your emotions arrive is incredibly powerful because it puts you on the driver's seat of your own experience. The third step is what I call silent delivery. This is where you act on your internal guidance without external applause or recognition. Most people are constantly acting for an audience, doing things to get approval, validation, or compliments. But silent delivery means that you do the right thing, the excellent thing, the significant thing, simply because you align with your inner compass, not because someone will notice or reward you. This may mean doing an exceptional job, even when no one is watching. It may mean being kind to someone, even when there is no social credit for it. It may mean making the decision difficult, but certain, even when others may not understand or appreciate it. The silent delivery is to become intrinsically motivated rather than extrinsically motivated. Let me give you some concrete examples of how to apply these principles in everyday life. At work, instead of constantly seeking your boss's approval or worrying about what your colleagues think, you focus on offering a great job because that's what you choose to be. When you get criticism, you hear any valid feedback without considering it a personal attack on your value. You make decisions based on your professional judgment instead of trying to please everyone. In your family relationships, you appear as the person you want to be regardless of how others are behaving. If someone is being difficult, you keep your center instead of being pulled to their drama. You express your thoughts and feelings honestly, without having to agree with you. You define boundaries not out of anger, but out of self-respect. In your personal life, you are looking for goals and interests that really matter to you, not what seems impressive to others. You make health choices because you value yourself, not because you are trying to adjust to some external standard. You spend your time and energy on what really fulfills you, not what you think you should be doing. Before we continue, I want you to try something now. Think of a way to practice silent delivery today. Maybe it's doing something excellent at work without mentioning it to anyone. Maybe it's kinder to someone without expecting anything in return. Maybe it's making a healthy choice just because it's suitable for you. Go ahead and commit to this small practice, and if this approach is resonating with you, press the application button so that you can continue to develop this internal force. Now, when you start implementing these practices, you need to remember some key principles that will keep you on the right track. While others are running around trying to prove everyone, you are learning to anchor in silence. This does not mean that you become antisocial or not ambitious. This means that you generate your confidence and direction inside, rather than constantly seeking external validation. Here is another crucial view. You don't need external signs to know you're on the right track. You are the signal. Your inner wisdom, when you learn to trust, is more reliable than any external indicator. Other people can doubt you, Circumstances may seem uncertain, but when you are connected to your inner compass, you can advance with confidence even without external evidence. And remember this fundamental truth: who depends on external forces will always feel lost and unstable. But those who learn to anchor inside remain stable, regardless of what storms are furious around them. It is not about becoming rigid or closed. It is about becoming a deeply rooted tree that can bend with the wind without breaking, because its base is solid. Write in the comments the unshakable word if you choose peace that depends on anything external. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I once worked with someone who seemed completely in meetings where everyone was stressed and reactive. She remained calm and focused. When the projects collapsed, it did not panic, but simply evaluated the situation and took the appropriate measures. When people criticized their ideas, she heard thoughtfully, but did not take her to the staff or immediately moved to please them. One day I asked her how she got so centered, and she told me something deep. She said that at the beginning of her career, she realized that her emotional state was completely at the mercy of external circumstances. A bad meeting would ruin all day. The criticism would send her to a spiral of doubt. Success would make her too confident. It was essentially an emotional ping-pong ball, jumping between other people's opinions and external events. But then she decided to conduct an experiment. For 30 days, she pledged to start every morning, deciding who wanted to be that day, regardless of what happened. She visualized herself being calm, focused and confident, and then commit to maintaining this identity, regardless of challenges. At first it was difficult. His former reaction patterns were strong, but gradually she noticed that she was becoming less reactive and more receptive. She was making better decisions because they came from a place of inner clarity instead of external pressure. The transformation did not happen overnight, but within a few months, people began to comment on how it became composed and reliable. Her career accelerated not because she was trying to impress someone, but because her inner stability made her naturally effective and reliable. She learned the secret of silent delivery, doing an excellent job without needing external applause. This is what becomes possible when you learn to operate from your internal strength, not from external validation. You become magnetic, not because you are trying to be, but because authenticity and inner peace are naturally attractive qualities. People want to be close to those who are genuinely confident, rather than constantly seeking approval. In the middle of your journey of development of this inner force, you can notice something interesting happening. The people around you can react differently to your newly discovered stability. Some may be confused that you are no longer so reactive or seek approval. Others may even feel threatened by their independence. This is completely normal and actually a sign that you are progressing. Remember that most people are operating from a place of dependence on external validation. When you start to appear differently, this can make others uncomfortable because it highlights your own standards. Do not let it discourage you or pull it back to old behaviors. Instead, see how confirmation you are developing genuine internal strength. At this point, I want you to do something. In the comments, share a word that represents the unshakable quality you want to develop. It can be calm, focused, confident, peaceful, or authentic. Choose the word that resonates most deeply with you now. This is not just an exercise, it is a way of committing yourself and connecting with others on the same journey. By continuing to practice these principles, you will notice that your relationship with challenges begins to change. Instead of seeing obstacles as threats to your peace, you begin to see them as opportunities to strengthen your inner determination. A difficult conversation becomes a chance to practice remain centered. A stressful term becomes an opportunity to keep your focus without being frantic. Criticism becomes information you can consider without taking it as a personal attack. This change in perspective is incredibly powerful because it means that external circumstances no longer have the power to disturb you. You develop what I call anti-fragility, the ability to really become stronger through challenges rather than weakened by them. As a muscle that becomes stronger with resistance, its inner strength develops through practice in real-world situations. Now, I want to take you to a view that will help you integrate everything we discussed. Close your eyes if you are in a safe place to do so, or just soften your look and let your imagination take over. Imagine yourself in one of those days when everything seems to be wrong. Perhaps it is a high-pressure situation at work, where everyone is stressed and reactive. Maybe it's the family drama where emotions are on top. Perhaps it is a personal challenge where you feel overwhelmed and uncertain. Really see yourself in this situation. Observe the noise, the chaos, the pressure. Now note, while everyone around you are being pulled to the drama, they are reacting emotionally, making decisions for fear or anger, seeking validation or approval of other people. But you, in the center of all this chaos, take a deep breath, feel your feet on the floor, straighten your column, and silently repeat to himself, "Nothing external completes me." When breathing this truth to your being, note how you naturally become calmer, clearer. You are not disconnected from what is happening around you, but you are not being controlled either. You can see the situation more objectively because it is not emotionally reactive. You can answer more wisdom because you are operating on your inner compass instead of external pressure. Observe yourself by moving by this challenging situation with grace and confidence. You speak when appropriate, act when necessary, but all of a place of inner stability instead of external reaction. The people around them begin to calm down because their calm energy is contagious. Solutions become apparent because you are not cloudy by emotional reactivity. This is what you become when you dominate the Emerson protocol. This is the person who operates with internal strength and not external validation. This calm, confident, and unshakable version of yourself is not a future fantasy. It is naturally when you stop giving your power to external circumstances. Open your eyes and take a moment to anchor this vision. This is not only possible for you, it is your natural state when you learn to generate peace and confidence inside, instead of seeking you from the outside world. As we end, I want to remind you of the fundamental truth that we are exploring. Peace does not come from making the external world behave the way you want. It comes from the development of internal stability that remains stable, regardless of external circumstances. The visible transformation that others will notice is that you begin to live with focus and peace, even under pressure. It is not about getting cold or disconnected. It is about becoming genuinely strong and authentic. When you no longer need constant validation from other people, it is free to give more generously. When you are not constantly concerned about the opinions of others, you can focus on contributing significantly. When you generate your own sense of value, you can enjoy others without comparing or competing. The journey for the development of this inner force is underway. It's not something you dominate once and then forget. It is a daily practice of choosing your internal compass instead of external pressure, responding instead of reacting, keeping your center, even when the world around you is chaotic. I want to give you a specific challenge that will help you integrate everything we discussed. For the next 7 days, I want you to practice the Emerson protocol we describe. Every morning, take 10 minutes of silence to connect with your inner wisdom. Define who you want to be that day based on your own values, not external expectations. So, throughout the day, practice silent delivery, doing excellent job, being kind, making good choices without needing recognition or external applause. Save this video so you can return to it whenever you need a reminder of these principles. Share with someone in your life that could benefit from the development of this kind of inner strength. And sign this channel so you can continue to receive wisdom on how to live from your own center rather than constantly react to external circumstances. Remember, every time you choose your inner compass instead of external pressure, you are building the kind of force that can never be taken from you. Every time you act on your authentic self, instead of trying to please everyone else, it is developing the confidence that comes from knowing who you really are. Every time you keep your peace in the midst of chaos, you are becoming the type of person other people looking for stability and wisdom. The world needs more people who operate with this kind of inner strength. He needs individuals who can remain calm and focused when everyone is losing their minds. You need people who make decisions based on wisdom rather than fear, who contribute significantly rather than just trying to impress others. You have everything inside you now to become that person. The only question is if you commit to the daily practice of choosing your inner wisdom rather than external validation. The transformation begins the moment you decide that your peace, your trust and direction will come from within, not the approval of others. Start today, start now, and watch as your life turns from the inside out.